Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love, deconstruct them, add a snow from a Paco jet, to find out what makes them so deliciously awesome. I am your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by my friend, co-host, and taker.
Oh, Alex Dandino.
All right, before today's amazingly tasty episode, a little bit of business. People, we're on Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. Guys, it would mean the world to us if you could go over there and support the show. As little as $1 a month, you can get in and join the community, see what we're working on as you climb the tier ranking system, right? You get exclusive episodes every month. You get a commentary. You get mini-series. We got a Tales from the Crypt mini-series going right now. It's going great. I think you'll have a fun time with that. You can even have us pick a double feature of your choice based on how you support the show. So if you would be so kind, that's patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. For those of you who already do that, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It does mean the world to us that anyone supports the show. So thank you guys for doing that. For those of you who are kind enough to join us soon, thank you as well. The YouTube Film Alchemist, the email filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the social media you're on, so reach on out. Go ahead and talk to us. Talk to us about our menu choices. You can, we'll have a long correspondence that ends in tragedy. Also, if you'd be so kind, something you can do to help shows like us out, right? Even if you can't financially donate, we get it, man. Times is hard out there.
We get it.
If you can leave a 5-star rating and review everywhere you find podcasts, that helps us out too. So any way you support the show, if you enjoy what we're doing, we would greatly appreciate it. All right, it's time. It's time. Pay attention. It's course one. So
yeah,
Alex,
Bush.
Yeah, you made the resolution, so I'll let you take over the introduction.
Yes, so my first resolution for this year is to be more adventurous in my food experience.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a simple man.
That's one of those lofty, ideal kind of resolutions.
I'm a simple man. I like simple things.
I'm a simp. I mean, simple man.
And in accordance with that, I picked a new movie, The Menu, from last year.
Fucking love that.
Mark Mylod, who directs a lot of directs I think most of the episodes of Succession. Ray Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, Hong Chow, great cast, great movie. Just took me by surprise, man. Like I truly it was. I was excited to see it, and because I get screeners now and stuff like that, and but I actually the first offering we got was. My babysitter actually, when I saw this in the theater, I was able to give her one of my. She'd go see it in the theater, with the PGA screening, which was cool. So she came back and she was like, "Oh my God, you've got to go see that fucking movie." And I'm like, "It was like the last screening I gave you. Damn it! Why didn't I go?" But finally, we got to see it, and I think it might have been one of my favorite movies from last year by far. Like definitely in my top 10.
It was right on the verge of top 10 for me, right? It was kind of wrestling with Pearl.
Yeah.
Right? Which one? Pearl's a little more my jam. But
right.
This movie, I actually liked it a lot more the second time I saw it. Because I went with my mother, right? Mm-hmm. And me and my mother, we're real, Cracker Barrel people, right? Like, we want cheap food in giant portions. Right. That's what we're there for, right?
The way we grew up. That's how it was. Like I always think
I am the Peter Pan of carb life. That's what.
Like when you, I don't know if you remember this. Like when I was a kid, this is a very specific memory for you, Indiana Midwest people, for particularly is my birthday meal. Like whenever we were gonna go do if I was asked, do you want to do a birthday besides pizza, which was an obvious one. If I wanted pizza, we go to Pizza Hut. I'd always want to go to Max and Irma's. Because Max and Irma's had this ridiculous, it had a bathtub filled with ice cream, and that was your thing is a sundae bar. It was just really kitschy, but that was how I was oh nice, that's a fancy meal right there.
I almost fought a Cracker Barrel waitress but a week ago because she just assumed I didn't need my extra bowl of gravy, and I was like, oh, I'm dipping everything in this gravy. Why would you take it? It was an ordeal, but that's who I am. I am not a man of fanciness, right? I feel like I'm a weird mix because I think I hold myself in esteem.
Right.
But I also have no standards on what I eat and what I drink and this and that. My friends are all Scotch guys. I'm like, don't give me your $200 bottle of Scotch. It'll be lost on me. I can't tell the difference. Don't give me a $30 cigar. I'll have my $3 cigar. I don't understand the extra flavorness, right? I have a peasant's palate and royal blood. So, that's who I am. But
Orson for the peeps.
I'm Orson for the peeps. I'm Orson
That's
Welles
what it
for
is.
the common man.
Yeah.
That's who I am. And I'm on my way to being as fat as Orson Welles because of my Cracker Barrel diet. But what is happening in this movie is it's kind of tickling all my fancies, right? Essentially, it said, do you hate rich people? You're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I do. Do you hate fancy, tiny food? Yeah, fuck yeah, I do. Would you like to see those people get got? Absolutely. Sign me up.
Absolutely.
So
Come
me and my
on
mom
in.
went in, and this is one of those movies, right, where it's like we know we're playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
We know this island is bad news. We know that this is, especially when you cast Ralph Fiennes as your chef, we know this is not going to go
There's some
in the
sinister
direction
shit
we want.
going on. Like, he's really leaned
Right.
into this in the last few years of, like, being,
Oh,
that's
I
a
mean,
bad guy, for sure.
Amy said that when we were watching, and she's like, he's so fucking good and scary. And I was like,
Yeah.
in everything. Like, to me, he's kind of like a Meryl Streep now. Like,
Yeah.
anything he's in, it's like you could nominate him for anything. He could get a Best Supporting for this movie.
Oh, for sure.
And no one,
Without a
like,
question.
he's great. But what it is, I'm always obsessed with movies like this that we know the game we're playing, and they manage to keep it fresh, keep us on the edge of our seats, even though we pretty much know what we're
think
doing.
what's
it excels
interesting-
within this is an Orson Welles thing, right? Is that creativity or limitations, right? Lack of having stuff will breed creativity. The constraints this movie puts on itself by being a game in a tiny restaurant, it excels within those parameters.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun as fuck game of a movie.
Yeah, I think what's unique about the menu that other movies like it can't do is, I think we all knew how it was going to end. Like, they show up on an island, we're like, something sinister, terrible is probably going to happen here. Not a lot of people are going to make it out of this one. But what's interesting is as the choruses come out, I could not guess what the next chorus was going to be. And that's like this masterful thing that I think is going on in the movie is I could guess maybe the ending, but otherwise, like, it was just up for debate. And I really, really enjoyed that.
Well, it kind of follows actually like a madman's blueprint. Like, none of it makes any fucking sense, right? Like, his specific reason for wanting to get the people in this room, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But his methodology is so strange. And I did wonder, I was like, is this just something because I would never, for the life of me, be caught dead eating at a place that served food like this, let alone for the price. I was like, is this something that people who eat fancy like that would understand this better than me?
See, I think that's what it is like, this is that, like, I'm like, we've gone to, like, what's the fanciest restaurant you've ever been to?
That has courses? Probably like a Golden Corral buffet.
That's
China
not
buffet.
true.
That has like 10 courses for
You've
me.
been at least to one restaurant where you have to put on, like, a shirt, right?
No. I've never, if a restaurant has a dress code, there's not a chance. Oh, that's not true. So when we first got to LA, my friends were, they knew Marty and Elaine. So they took us to the Dresden room.
Dresden, yeah.
But the Dresden is fancy because
Dresden's a bar, though.
right, it's trying to like emulate an ancient time. So we wore,
Dresden-
I wore a suit jacket, but I wasn't required
Dresden's like a throwback thing. Like,
Right.
I'm talking, like, so
I've literally never been to a restaurant where there was a tiny menu, a course, I had to dress up in my life. I've never been.
you never done one of those, like, Valentine's Day things where you did that? That's nice.
Nope. No one I know is into that either. Like, you were probably you and my friend Weinman are probably like my two most foodie friends.
I don't even think, but again, I also
Maybe not
don't
you, but
think,
Andrea, your wife, is into that kind of stuff.
she likes, but see, like, we can't afford that. So, like,
Well, no, I feel you on that, dude. I could have spent $1,200 on food.
no, like, the
If
price
I did, it'd have to
alone-
be ramen, and it'd
I'll
have
say
to last
this.
me the year.
If the menu existed in this world, I'd be like, who the fuck can go to that place? Like, who has the ability to spend $1,300 per
Dude,
person?
so get this. When we got our mortgage, right, they're like, hey, here's a $100 gift card. We're like, well, that's a fucking drop in the bucket for what we just paid you, but thanks, I
Right,
guess. We went to this steakhouse, right? It's supposed to be like a fancy-ish steakhouse.
Right.
They charged my wife $40 for pork chops, and I damn near went in the kitchen and just started under-sieging people. Like, I was just going to start snapping necks. And I'm like, what's in these pork chops? Because it better be aphrodisiacs.
There's when only special occasion, like, okay, so because that's another thing that they bring up in the movie, because like Judith Light and I can't remember who the older guy. I don't know the actor's name.
Who's
older
the boss?
actor,
Yeah, Angela from Who's the Boss.
Yeah, so Judith Light and her husband are like regulars at this restaurant, which is fucking insane. It's like that's one of the that's the reason they're there is like, dude, you're like regulars and you never appreciate anything we've eaten. Like the first time in LA,
well, it's also funny because you think he'd take his whores there, not his wife.
Well, you can't take whores to a $1,300 meal because like
I mean, that's true. On top of,
I mean, you can, but they're the ones who are going to get out. No, so but like.
There's a different kind of buffet you're paying for with a whore.
When we moved to LA, my wife worked at the coffee shop she worked at for a really long time. And one Christmas she got this like ridiculous gift card. It was like a $250 gift card from her bosses to go to Osteria Mazza, which is this restaurant in Hollywood. It's right next to this pizza place. Nancy Silverton, who's his famous chef now. So we went there. And that was the first time we've ever been in like a fancy restaurant. And I was like, holy shit. Like there are people in here who like aren't appreciating what they're eating. Like I'm sitting here eating things that are way too expensive on someone else's dime. Like that's like the kind of awe and reverence you're supposed to have when you're in a place like that. Right. And I think what's fascinating is from the jump in this movie, so many people. The only person who like sits in awe of it is Nicholas Holt's character, but it is this awe.
This guy rides a dick like a rodeo champion.
Yeah, I mean it's impressive.
It's the saddest jock sniffing. I mean, he
it
might
makes
be
you
about
so depressing.
He really might be, and I love Nicholas Holt. Right, I saw him in Skins and loved that guy forever.
He's unbelievable.
He is. I mean, this is truly as pathetic a character as I've ever seen in a movie. But he kind of lays out his thesis, right, about why you should give a fuck. Because I'm watching this movie and I'm like, you bring out bread condiments and no bread? I'm swinging. Like, I'm swinging on people.
No, totally. Be like, see, like, that's,
yeah,
I would too. I'd be like, give us the bread, man. Come on.
Yeah, my beaty's going to kick in. I'm going to get hangry. I'm going to flip a table and say, I'm going to knock your grandma out unless you fucking give me bread.
Yeah, give me bread.
But he says, right, he has this great line, right, where he talks about, he's like, you know, some people like sports and, you know, music. That's stupid. And he starts describing like chefs as artists, right? Yeah. Chefs play with the raw materials of life, of death. It's art on the edge of the abyss. That's where God works too.
Right.
So to him, he is with a demigod, right? This is like an ancient Greek deity that can come down. Like Zeus is coming down as a swan, and instead of banging his wife, he's making him a fucking, you know, rock plate.
Right.
So he is obsessed with this. So I feel bad shitting on people's hobbies, right? We all have weird things that we're into and make our day more tolerable.
Yeah.
That seems like the dumbest version of this. His explanation.
I mean...
Like, I don't look at Gary on the line at Cracker Barrel and be like, he's pretty much a god. His biscuits and gravy dance
Gary on the line
at
Cracker Barrel. Here's the difference. I get it.
Gary makes us happy. The chef doesn't. That's
Gary... But, like, see, the counter-argument, this is what's interesting, is, like, to me... Anya Taylor-Joy's reaction. So when you get to towards the end of the movie, when she finally like stands up to him, that's the reaction you're supposed to have, which is like, or that's the reaction you're supposed to have, not to like, we're all gonna get murdered, but the reaction you're supposed to have to food that you think is like, why are you fucking with everybody? Like, all you're supposed to do is make people happy when they eat.
Yeah,
like,
you give people food that they will enjoy to eat, because that's what she says, right? She's like, you bored me.
You bored me.
Even worse, I'm fucking starving.
Yeah, like that is like the cardinal sin of like That's the cardinal sin of like
and tell me this,
restaurants like this.
Tell me this: when he made that cheeseburger, every motherfucker watching this movie is like, I'd way rather have that.
Absolutely,
a cheeseburger might be the greatest culinary invention of all time.
The cheeseburger, I like. You and I have talked about this. Now we've eaten a lot of fast food. That's what she said too.
She's like, I don't want any deconstructed horse shit. I
don't want any of that avant-garde bullshit. Yeah. I want an actual cheeseburger.
I can't remember the one we went to where they had like all these like weird swings. They're like, oh, we'll put plums on top of it. I was like, all right, motherfucker, like bring it down. It was around the corner from your house. Yeah.
You and I have gone to some weird. You and I have gone to some weird places.
Yes.
Because like you are willing to go to these places with me, but see, here's the thing.
I go in a combat sense.
I don't like those. I don't like when we go to like nicer places. Like I know what you're talking about. It's this place in LA. It's called The Counter. Now, there's places in Los Angeles that do those very weird. Like there's a very like Los Angeles is now in this like burger like this burger renaissance where everybody wants to have a fucking burger. And actually, there's a place out here that is serving the menu burger right now. It's called Irv's Burgers.
Hell
But
yeah. Dude, I was at, when we went to like comics and Fat Sal's, that's my life.
yeah, but
That's
I
where I
love
live.
Fat Sal's too. Like, I think that's a really, like, there are places that do a great hamburger in Los Angeles. There's places that do a great hamburger everywhere because a great hamburger isn't that complicated. It's a
like,
great burger.
It's like pizza, right? Even
It's love.
The percentile difference between the best pizza you've ever eaten and the worst is minimal.
People
Right?
who
Whereas
this is
sushi, the best sushi versus like gas station sushi, that's a way big difference.
This is a thing that this is an argument I have with people who, like, whenever we go to like when I've worked in New York, I've worked with people who are like, oh, you got to go here for pizza. I'm like, or I could just go there and get $1 slice that's just as good as anything else. Like, there are places that of course are exceptional.
People have 50 cars,
Yeah.
500 pairs of shoes. It's what we're presenting to the world. This is, in lieu of a personality trait, this is what we are presenting as, oh, he's the guy who eats fancy food. Right? And that's
Like,
why I wonder, this is something I wonder about our hobbies. Does this truly spark, and this might be pretentious and mean of me, but like when I watch a film or I read a book, I get really inspired by that. It helps me do the other things. Does that really happen when you're eating the condiments of bread? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, I think that's the point. Like,
But here, so we're not talking about the movie much, but so here's the setup I love, right? I love that the choosing of who's in the restaurant was perfect in this movie.
yes.
Let's start this. Why is his mom there?
'Cause
That is ominous. That is an ominous
to
fucking
me-
thing hanging over the movie.
my assumption was, and I think he said it in the movie, but my assumption was, is like, he's never been able to measure up to his mother. Because he says it when the mess chorus comes on.
Yeah.
Which is fucking brutal. But like, he says, like, you know, I've never been able to measure up to this standard. Like, this is the standard that
He
I
has
have.
that.
Like,
It was Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, and he's
and
he's like, my father was
Whatever-
strangling my mother. So I
whatever accent, like, I don't know if you felt this, but I feel like the accent that Ray Fiennes went with was like, I did this movie Red Dragon. I'm just going to do Dollarhide again if
Yeah.
that makes everyone feel
Like,
comfortable.
I've seen a Slipknot video. That's not how people from Iowa talk. First off, fella, let's bring it down. But no,
he clearly is. By the way, he's clearly not from Iowa. Like, there's nothing factual about anything that he says.
That's where the burger article was from. That was his restaurant in Iowa he worked at.
But see,
I think he has adopted this character because he needed to.
I don't know where he's from because he has two different stories about history that make no sense. Like, he talks about growing up in Slovakia at one point, and then he talks about being from Davenport, Iowa. Like, there's competing narratives. So, like, he's just an enigma of a person at this point. Because the idea is
he's a caricature. He's not a real person.
No, he's not a real person.
Right. Because that's the line we talked about, right? Is that when she says, you don't cook with love, you cook with obsession. He's the kind of person that all of us admire, right? We admire guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, these guys that are so ferocious in how they approach achieving their goals.
Yeah.
And most of us aren't, man. Most of us aren't saying, hey, man, I'm not going to see my kids for 3 weeks because I got to, do laps for 4 hours in the morning.
Because here's the thing. I at least like watching shows about people making food. I can cook, but I cannot cook. Like, I can make pasta and burgers, and those, that's pretty much all I'm good at. But like, I like watching those shows because it is like watching people make art, which is fascinating to me. But at the same time, I also think, like, why would anybody tolerate the level of douchebaggery that comes sometimes with like people being like, that's not the right grill mark on that steak. It's like, fuck you, dude. It's still a steak. Like,
well, that's what I mean. Can we see the tables, right? And it's kind of, there are the power bros that don't give a shit.
Yeah.
The old actor who's just doing something because he wants to be seen somewhere.
I heard this recently. They said this in an interview. That was supposed to be actually Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, was it? I did hear that Leguizamo based his character on Steven Seagal.
Yes.
Who he hates.
Because
Steven Seagal attacked him.
Steven Seagal is like legendarily hated by like everyone in this business. But
I used to know this editor, right, when I worked in Post, and he would edit fucking Seagal's movies. And so every time I'd go over, he's like, tell your bosses the cut's not ready. And I just have to wait in Glendale. And we'd smoke a cigar, and he would just plaster these fucking Steven Seagal stories on me. And it's like crazier than you even could imagine.
So John Leguizamo's character apparently, like, at one point was supposed to be Daniel Radcliffe playing himself. And the reason in the movie that John Leguizamo's character is there is because Julian Slowik gets 1 day off a week, and he went to go see a movie, and it sucked.
He hated calling Dr. He's like, I'm haunted by it. Your face.
I'm haunted. So originally supposed to be
so
Daniel Radcliffe playing himself, and they couldn't do it, I think, probably because, I mean, nobody ever wants to slander anyone in this business, but they totally were going to say, like, the reason Daniel Radcliffe was chosen is because he took a Sunday off and went to go see Victor Frankenstein.
Also, it's perfect. He's like, I saw Harold Potter. I hated it.
No, it was.
Well, then it could be Voldemort versus Harry again.
Well, that would have been great too. But it was the reason would have been because he saw Frankenstein, that Frankenstein movie he did by Max Landis, and he's like, I hated it, and you've ruined my day. I'm like, that would have been awesome. Right. However, John Leguizamo is so good still because it's John Leguizamo, and he's just amazing.
He's the man. But he
is so good.
So you go table by table, right? And so we had this great course of characters.
Yeah.
And so everyone, right? The first one is have this fucking. I remember what the first course is. Some horse shit, right?
The first course, I have.
You're
I have
eating the ocean, right? It's like rocks
I have
with
the list up,
whatever on it. Yeah.
So
there's
there's the first
shit.
thing that's on the boat, which is horse shit.
Right. The little the eggs and the scallop or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we do each course, and it's like more and more bullshit, right? And by the time you get to the bread course, it's so obvious that he has no intent to serve you, right? You are watching his theater for the night.
Yeah.
The characters are getting more ominous in how they're kind of hovering over.
Yeah.
When we get to Taco Tuesday, right, as he talks about, he gives him the little chicken where he stabbed his dad in the leg with scissors, which is amazing. And then this is where the game starts to really break, right? As he's like, here are we printed images on the tacos, right? And this
Tortillas.
scene is so good because, one, you see, right, the old man has been cheating. That's on the, it's a tortilla. A tortilla. Right?
Tortilla deliciosa.
Yeah, it's a tortilla. Right? The other guy has the
amazing
financial crimes on the tortillas.
Yep.
Right? He's got paging Dr. Sunshine on the tortillas. And then Nicholas Hoult has images of him taking pictures
of the food.
This is where it turns, though, because that's ominous enough.
Yeah, for sure.
But our anchor is this couple we're following, right? Nicholas Hoult and Anya Joy-Taylor. Tyler and Margot, or whatever.
Margot.
I've served
Even
a
though
lot
she
of
doesn't look
Margos.
like a
You're
Margot.
not a Margot, yeah. And he sits there, and he's mad, and he's like, should I apologize? No, you shouldn't apologize. You paid him. He's like, well, I want him to like him. And this is where he fucking snaps.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, you're a fucking child. Right? And he fucking loses that. You do not send shit back to this kitchen, you child. And he goes, I'm the one paying, so shut up and eat. And he starts giving her the business, and she's just like, don't talk to me that way. And once you see that tie severed, I actually think it's a brilliant kind of middle of the movie decision. Because they're our rock, right? You're like, look at all these weird people, and then there's just like a normal couple who's coming to do overpriced food.
Right.
The moment he talks to her like that, you're like, oh my God, we are severed from the real world.
Well, that's when the veil's lifted, and you're like, something is not right on multiple levels here. Like,
well, him taking pictures is not
right.
a crime on the level of the other tortillas.
No.
Right? So you're like, that's not that
Certainly
bad.
not.
But then he snaps on Margot. You're like, oh shit. Like something really bad is coming. And it's so perfectly timed when that moment hits.
Yeah. Well, because it's this, I mean, I really like the food the food critic and her publicist are like
forgot about them.
They are the most cringeworthy people in the entire movie.
What does she say? She's like, we're at the base camp of Mount Bullshit.
I mean, again, she's just like and Janet McTeer does this like pitch perfect, like douchebag, like, oh yes, I make my own bread. You do? Oh wow, that's interesting. Like, and then
It's it's folksy.
Paul Adelstein is the greatest like publicist scumbag sycophant.
Is he a greater dick writer or Nicholas Hoult?
I mean, they're pretty much
I think Nicholas Hoult is worse because it's
Hoult
not
wins.
reciprocated.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult wins because like it's like getting beaten down by the boyfriend who like just like treats you like shit. Like Paul Adelstein's just like riding that dick. Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. I was just gonna say that. Yeah, of course.
And he'll say a word and she's like, I like mine better. Oh dude, how about this? How about when the corporate bros are like, hey, what's this? Do you know who you're in trouble? We'll have this place shut down by the morning. And she leans in and she goes, you will eat less than you want and more than you deserve. And I was like, oh my God. But this is where the movie breaks open.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, because like this is where you're like, all right, so because it starts with the bros. Like this was what's interesting too is like because it's all these like fabricated invoices and shit. It starts with the bros, and you're like, oh, he's like going after people for financial crimes or some shit. You're like, oh, cool, he's really doing some work here. He's gonna come after the 1%ers, but everybody else's crimes are so minimal compared. And then is it then that the fallen angel happens?
No, that's later, right? So
is that later? Okay,
he
cool.
approaches Margot in the bathroom, and he's like, I need to know who the fuck you are. When he comes out, this is where we get to the mess, and this is the hammer of the movie. Yeah,
this is the turn, the complete turn in the wrong direction.
Because before it's just like, all right, bad boyfriend, shitty rich people. We're all pretty trained to assume rich people are always cheating around the edges. Fair enough. And this is such a just brutal exchange. Because he kind of walks up and he lays out the tarp with the fucking like parsleys on it, whatever the fuck that is. And he kind of lays out, he's like, Jeremy is a good chef.
Yeah.
He will never be great. He aspires to greatness, but he will never achieve it. He's like, he wants to be me. He's jealous and envious of my talent in my life. And he talks about how this is the mess you make of your life interpretation.
Right.
And it's this kind of artsy bullshit, whatever, right? In a flash, he pulls out a gun and blows his brains out. There is no art. Yeah, there is no craft. It is an instantaneous and brutal fucking ending of life. There's no like, oh, I'll take these pills and writhe and suffer like the meat that we eat. Like the other horseshit they've been spinning.
That's it.
Yeah, bring the tarps. Another one. Yeah, it's fucking terrifying. And then you just see this mixed reaction. It's theater. It's art. You see Nicholas Hoult not even look up. He's still just eating.
Yeah. He thinks it's a bit. Like,
no,
everybody...
See, remember, we know later...
Oh, well, sorry. He doesn't think it's a bit. Sorry, my bad. Everybody, though, thinks it's a... Like, until they drag him out, it's like everyone still thinks it's like... It's probably just a show.
It's improbable that something bad could happen to them.
It's crazy that something would happen like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then... So then they chop off the old guy's finger. We're all going to die tonight. Guy gets drowned in the ocean. You're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Is that during the palate cleanser? The palate cleanser? He's just
is this like, bergamot, chef?
Is this bergamot I'm tasting? I'm getting, chef? Yeah, it's bergamot. Nicholas Hoult is the greatest. Oh, my God.
It's fucking... He's so bad.
Why does it...
You know what it's perfect, though, is because I truly didn't know what his deal was until it was unveiled, right? Because what we learn at the end, right? Because there's this brutal scene when she goes back and talks to Chef, right? And he's like, are you with us? Do you enjoy plying your craft? You're a service provider like us. You're not like them. She goes back out and he's talking shit. He's like, of course you got a fucking kitchen, visit. And he goes, protein or veg? She smacks the fuck out of him. He looks back at her without even flinching. He goes, protein or veg? And you're like, oh my God, this poor soul is gone. Like, this dude is fucking lost. Yeah. The other fucking anvil is at the end when we realize he's been corresponding with Chef for 8 months.
So
Chef specifically said, everyone's going to die this night.
Yeah.
And he brought Margot because he needed a +1, knowing that he was dooming her to death.
Yes.
Because there's baffling moments, right? Like when they tell everyone to run, right? Run for your lives. He doesn't run until Chef's like, you have to run. He's like, all right. And then the ladies are inside having their whatever,
and
right?
He's like
looking in the window like, hey, what's... And then when they let everyone in, he goes, what did you get? And he's like, I'll take that. And he's trying to eat leftovers. And it's so
He's
fucking
just he
sad.
takes and takes and takes, yeah.
It's so sad that this... It doesn't even dawn on him that he's going to die. He doesn't care. It means that much to him.
That part is sad. What makes it so much worse is then Tyler's bullshit. Like when they make him cook.
Oh, that scene is fucking awful.
I mean, it's pitch perfect, but holy shit. Oh my God. The way
you dress this piece of shit down. He's like, is that the new way to cut garlic? Everyone pay attention to Kyla's creations. He's such a piece of shit. But what he says is actually, kind of fascinating, right? He's like, you've demystified
the
my
art,
art, my process. And there is something to this. It's these fucking experts that don't actually do it.
Right.
And again, this gets back to the obsession, not the love.
Right.
Right? And it's
Right.
it's just, you watch this man just crumble.
Well, it's
and
like when you try.
everyone watch.
Well, this is like that thing where people like see something on TV and they try to make it at home. Like it's that YouTube. It's like YouTube video stuff.
But not even that.
Like,
So he's been obsessed with this for how long? And he doesn't cook at home?
No, he tries to. Like that's the difference. He does cook at home. That's what it is to me. Like when Tyler can't construct a dish. Like if you were gonna say, like if someone said, "Oh, we have everything in this kitchen, cook for your life," and you're like, Jesus Christ, okay, fine. Like you can't think of it. Like all you can come up with is leeks, garlic, and lamb.
Grilled cheese.
Yeah, I mean, I'd make pasta.
Comfort food.
Give me the comfort food. I can make a decent pasta. Like that's it. Yeah. But I know that I'm
going out with a belly full of carbs, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. But like for him to say, like he's still trying to cook something fancy that is like unique. It's like, don't try to impress, just make something with love. Like that's the whole thing. Like he even says it, like love is the most important ingredient, and the whole fucking kitchen's like, yeah, chef. It's the whole thing.
When he doesn't have any. But yeah, that scene, I actually love the decision too. When Chef leans in and whispers in his ear, and we don't get to hear it.
Yeah.
And the next thing we see is Tyler has hung himself. Oof. And he's dead.
Yeah.
And even though you don't really feel bad for him, there is an empathy with how pitiful this person was.
Yeah.
That this is where they went, right? That I don't know what he thought. Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna be like buddy with the chef, and like I don't know if he wanted to be
because
the food
he feels
critic.
Oh, if he emails me, I'm special.
Yeah, it's so fucking
everybody,
sad.
Even like the food critics, like you loved that I texted you to come out.
The food critic makes sense, right? Her job is spitting bullshit.
Course.
She's closed all these restaurants, right?
Yeah.
He makes it, but Nicholas Holtz is so. We don't know what he does for a job. We have no idea. We just know he watches obsessively these things about cooking. He's obsessed with Chef.
Yeah.
And this chef is just disgusted with him.
Yeah.
And it is, even though Tyler is one of the most pathetic and hateable characters ever in a movie, there is a sadness to it that I empathize with.
It is, because do you know that person exists in real life and they just want, it's like that sycophantic acceptance of like, oh, somebody just like what I do. And it's like, dude, just.
Well, it's like, yeah, bringing one of those Twitter trolls onto set and Spielberg being like, go ahead, show me how to direct this scene.
Show me how to direct, man. Go for it.
I fucking
please.
suck. You know how to do it? Show me. And he's like, Yeah. And it's like, so there is a catharsis.
It's every artist's dream to do that. Like, it's every artist's dream to be like, okay, man, you're the expert. Go for it.
Oh,
show
my
me how it's
video
done.
game sucks. Program it. Let's go.
Yeah,
right?
Go for it.
Oh, I'm a shitty writer. Write me a chapter. Any chapter. Let's go. Write me a sentence. And so there is a catharsis in it. But because that's the thing, I wouldn't say I feel empathy for any other character in that room. Maybe the rich guy's old wife and Margot are kind of the two. You're like, they don't really deserve this. I mean, none of them necessarily deserve to be fucking s'mored, but
I don't think anybody. Well, that was like the John Leguizamo's assistant. It's like, why am I here? And he's like, where'd you go to school? Brown. Sorry, you're gonna die.
Ew, gross. Yeah. What a piece of shit. Fucking
Again,
shit.
it's like, okay, so you're coming after the elites, but you're still being elitist about who deserves to die.
Yeah.
I'll say this: I laughed hysterically when they brought out that birthday cake. Like the whole.
Oh yeah, you told him it was my birthday. It seemed cool a day ago.
It comes at a moment where you're like, oh my God, this is so perfectly
I think
timed.
it comes right when she thinks help is coming. And the guy has a gun lighter, right? Like they think they're going to get out.
It's the gun lighter.
That is such a next level petty thing to do.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. He didn't think Margot was coming.
Yeah.
So this ruse was not for Margot. It was for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because he sets Margot up, hey, go get this barrel, right? And when she kills the Asian lady, they fight to the death. Her dying breath, she's like, Chef never told me about a barrel. I didn't forget.
Right.
And you're like, how fucking sad and pathetic. Like, he essentially is a cult leader in this. He's a Jim Jones.
I mean, that's how all of them, like, if you read, like, I've read a lot about, like, Marco Pierre White and, like, Gordon Ramsay and, like, these very famous, like, mega chefs. Not, like like probably the only one that never changed his narrative essentially is Anthony Bourdain because he became a writer. But like these mega chefs, like there's a I can't remember what this restaurant I think is based on the one that's in Norway. He like just said he's closing it to just be like a food experiment place. But there's a restaurant in like Norway that has an island. It's like literally $1,100 a meal. But there's this place in Spain called El Bulli that's very famous for being like an experimental kitchen. But these people build up this gravitas and this facade of, oh, I'm so mysterious because I put gelatin in turkey or whatever. Like
it
just
so reminds me of that one scene in Pig.
Yes.
Where Nicolas Cage just dresses down the chef. And I was like,
yep.
That is kind of that scene, but as an entire movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it plays this great game, right? It is this wonderful blending of characters. The pacing is almost clockwork perfection. Yeah. But honestly, I think one of the undervalued things that the scoring of this movie is so fucking perfect. The way they really blend and accentuate the moods, right? It is like that little green shit they sprinkle on your meal for visuals but doesn't actually have taste.
Parsley.
Yeah, that. R.I.P. Parsley. Sorry, I just put you in a body bag.
Put you on blast.
Yeah, fuck you. Bay leaf doesn't have a taste. Let's grow up. Bay leaf can't be doing that. No. but yeah, it's just the scoring is great. The performances are ferocious. I love the mechanic of the clap.
Yeah.
Right?
The sound
like
editing in this movie.
It's
the
so
sound editing in
good.
this movie deserves an award. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, that clap is a reset to like, here is our next emotional jumping off point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hard to find a flaw in what this movie does.
I mean, it's just, again, I think what's awesome is it could very well fall into this like, oh, this is just like an assassination of 1%ers and that kind of thing. But it goes so much deeper than that in it being about, it's about how obsession kills the beauty of certain things. Like when you're obsessed with the perfection of something or the pursuit of perfection of something, or you've built something in your mind that is so perfect that there's no way it could ever achieve its own standards, that the love and the enjoyment you feel about cooking or writing or any of the things that you like to do, not even as a hobby, like if your hobby is your career, that's amazing. You've unlocked, you've unlocked an achievement most people don't. Then, when it becomes something that you can't love anymore, that's like, it's really a tragedy. Like that's really what the movie boils down to, is like everyone has their own personal tragedy.
Even to that extent, right? The fact that you achieve this fame and success, you want the adulation of people who don't truly appreciate what you're doing, right? They appreciate it in so much as it lets them feel good or write a snide comment, pretend that they're smarter and better. Yeah. You don't make a meal for that, family that comes in. They've had a hard week on a Friday, and you see that dad, just melt when he bites into your food.
Yeah.
You see a family quiet and happy and spending time together, right? So you get to the point where your money and prestige they fortress you within these fucking people you can't stand.
Well, when you think about it, like to me, people who go to restaurants like this do food. They don't taste or eat the food, because what you're talking about is what people should be doing when they go to restaurants. Like,
right. I'm the Margot. Give me something that I want to eat.
When I've gone to a restaurant with Andrea that we for our anniversary, we went to a place in downtown LA that's really fancy. It's called 71 Above. And that was a place where we both were like, holy shit. Like we had to stop and actually be like, Jesus Christ, this food is way too good for us and we should not be here, but here we are. Like, it's one of those things where
you goddamn Tyler, you.
But see, Tyler is still doing food. Like what he's not doing, he's not tasting it and saying, oh my God. Like
he's Jeff says, right? Margot throws it in his face. He's like, I don't want you to taste. I don't want you to eat. I want you to experience.
Right.
And she's like, what the fuck are you talking
Tyler's
about?
version of that is to Tyler's version of that is to analyze it and you're saying, demystify it.
The game is figure out what his overall theme is. And you're like, his theme is he's mocking you to your face.
Yeah. The theme is you're being made fun of.
He's insulting you to your face, right? When he goes to the old guy, the philanderer,
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, you've been here 12 times. The guy can't even remember how many times. And he goes, name one meal. He's like, I come out and monologue, dude. I do a one-man show before every course. Name one fucking meal. And then she's like, the trout. He's
Cod.
like, it was halibut.
You donkey.
Yeah, you donkey. Dude, his insults are so good. You donkey. It's oh my god, I was dying. But yeah, he's asking these people for anything, right? And then he drowns Doug Varick because he's financially free. Because he goes, there are no substitutions at Hawthorne.
There are no substitutions. Now that's one of those things where
that's where you're like, he got an email that day and he's like, that's it. Like that's
I'm
it.
done. We're done.
He went to the barracks and he's like, are you guys willing to make ourselves into a fucking chefy pie? And they're like, yes, chef.
He like printed out the email. He's like, listen, this guy just asked for a steak, but no steak. We're gonna kill people. I'm done. Like, I'm done doing this.
Hey, maybe you should put some ketchup on the table. That's it. Chef's had enough.
I've had it.
I'll be in my masturbatorium jerking off to my employee of the month fucking plaque. The fact that he got that and stole it is so great. He stole his employee of the month plaque. But yeah, okay, so riddle me this. I think Margot is a strange journey in this movie.
Sure.
Why does he let her go?
Because she asked for love, not food. She stood up and she said, I'm starving. Cook me something that isn't, don't put on a show. Cook me something that I will love. Like that, I think is like, because when you go to
the other guys ask for bread.
Yeah, but they didn't love bread. They were there to taste the bread. They were like, oh, hey, great. Yeah, they're great. The bread. She said, I want a cheeseburger because that's something that she obviously saw that picture, but like a cheeseburger, everyone likes a cheeseburger. Even if I have serious lactose problems now in my mid 30s, and I'm like, I'm still gonna eat cheese. Like, sorry,
I
like,
will suffer for the good.
That is the sacrifice I will make. Like, if I gotta go to the bathroom 10 times, but that cheeseburger is
just
fucking.
Borrow one of Hank's diapers and let it rip. Yeah.
Hey, but like that is like, to me, she understood the assignment basically. Like, she's like, I want food, but I want something. But she
takes a bite and says, "I want it to go."
Yeah, and he says, "Sure."
Because there is this weird thing. He seemingly has a creed that he doesn't want to hurt her because she's not a taker.
Right. Well, at first,
neither are any of the fucking chefs in the kitchen.
Right. Well, she gets busted for calling. She gets busted for calling the boat, and he's like, "I was wrong about you." But like, what changes is she asks for something that will make her feel the love you get when you go to a restaurant that you really love. When you feel like you're sitting there and you're eating something that's truly making you feel childlike again. That is what it is. Like, he even says it. He's like, yes. I will make you a cheeseburger like the one your parents could barely afford.
Even then, he's a cunt.
He
just can't not be a cunt no matter what.
Do you not think people have $2.50 sitting around? Come on.
No one has $10 for. I mean, granted, $10 for a burger is fucking criminal.
See, that was actually my favorite. That was my favorite moment. He's like $9.95. She goes, that come with fries? Because I'm like, dude, $9.90 a $10 burger. Fuck off. That's like that.
It better be a 1 pound burger.
Is that a $5 shake? It's milk and ice cream. I'm kind of the king.
Right? We have a local place here that serves these 1 pound burgers. Or no, not one. They're huge, right? They come in a pie tin.
Jesus.
And last time I went, I ate, because if you eat it, you get your picture on the wall. I ate it so fast, the waitress was like, did I forget your burger? And my brother goes, no, he's fat. He ate it already. And she goes, what? And I was like, all right, bring it down a notch if you want to.
You got your picture on the wall. All
don't embarrass me in front of the public. But, yeah, I mean, the performance choice of that moment.
Yeah.
Watching Ralph Fiennes lovingly make that burger.
The little smile on his face.
Watching the other chefs stop and lovingly watch him make food the way you're supposed to make food. It is this wonderful pressure release, right? You do the old like collar like this is getting insane. You let the pressure off a little, right? And we all just sit and breathe. And we're like, so Chef is a monster.
Yeah.
But he started somewhere, right? This is the path to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
Right.
And there's this moment of breathing. And there's a great fucking moment as she's leaving. Where she looks around, she stops and looks around the room. And the woman of the wife of the philanderer, right, who's the boss, she looks at her and gives her the, like, get out of here. Even though that's who her husband was fucking. By the way, that husband keeping eye contact and jerking off to a girl who looks like your daughter, you got to get smored.
Yeah, you deserve
It should
to
be a new fucking legal document, right? If you're jerking off to your daughter, you're smored. You're in the town square. We're gonna smore you.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna s'more you. I'm sorry. You don't jerk off to people that look like your own children. Sorry, Trump. You're out. You're out, Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of guys that like to jerk off, only the one, not the other. Not you, Tiffany.
Right.
You're out.
No, she's happily married now, right?
Yeah, Tiffany's the condiments with no bread, if you know what I mean. You're out. You're fucking out. Not to me, to your father. I'm not throwing bombs.
She's the one.
Yeah. But yeah, who's the boss? Just gives her Angela gives her the little, like, go, live your life.
Yeah.
Because Angela also thinks she is not like these other people, right? And there is this beautiful recognition, right? Where they all finally settled into, we are going to die.
Yeah. The s'more chorus. Yeah.
And it seems somewhat like they're at peace as they get their fucking marshmallow
euphoric.
rubs and their fucking chocolate hats.
Mm-hmm.
It is the one course in the movie where I actually was kind of swept up in the artistry of what they were doing.
Yeah.
Watching them paint everything.
It's cool.
I think that's the thing, though, because we know it's about to get Wicker Man.
Yeah.
I think you take, like, wow, if nothing else, they were committed to their craft.
It's this a
to
beautiful
such a
thing
level.
where you're
It's
like,
so weird.
You know, like, because you've seen food before where you're like, who would eat that? Like, it's art. Like, it looks like a piece of art. Why would you think that that's an okay thing to eat? And I think that's what I like about, again, goes to the pacing of the movie, is you see how they've, like, all the lotions and potions they put all over the tables and stuff. You're like, wow, like, it's artwork. Like, there's no way around it.
There is a dedication to craft. And he's like, the schmore is the greatest assault on our palates ever made. Quoted Slipknot, Chapter 3.
I like it. The subliminal verses.
I'm doing the voice of the guy in The Shining who tries to jerk off little Alex. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. This is good.
But, I forgot, too, when she asked for the burger, Anya Joy Taylor claps.
Yeah.
It's like the Pavlovian cult response.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome, though. But I love, because he says this line at the end, which I thought was so fucking fun but pretentious, right? You represent the ruin of my art and life. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Dude, come on. Take some responsibility for yourself.
The s'more is the most offensive assault on the palate we've ever created. It's everything wrong with us. We must, until it hits the flame and we must embrace the flame.
We must embrace the flame, cleanse with fire, and be born anew.
Yeah, and then you see these people burning and the chocolate melting down their face. It's just a bizarre image to watch. No one's screaming in agony. No one's running. They just fully are accepting this moment.
I mean, they said thank you. Like, Judith Light says thank you. Like, Andrea was asking me after the movie, she was like, why were they all like, why did they become cult members? Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, because
he says that too. He's like, why did you guys not try harder to escape? You probably could have.
You probably could have.
And I was like, first off, no. They got like 5 guys that are under 5'10",
yeah.
all weighing like $160.
Yeah, the bouncers at the door
Those guys
are all
at the
brandishing
door were
knives.
Gonna fucking,
Come on.
They were gonna
fucking
crack
wreck
some
people.
skulls.
Yeah.
So I think that's another like me. Oh, you guys could have gotten out. Like, come on. You'd have gotten fucking laid out.
Little pretentious of you to say, like, what's the matter with you pussies? You couldn't gotten out?
Oh, you big vagines? It's like, well, you're hiding behind a fucking army of knife-wielding monsters. So maybe let's bring it down a notch, chef. You know what I mean? You want to fight? Like, we'll put burgers on our nipples and dicks and fight. Then we can see who the real man is.
Then we can figure it out.
Yeah. Then we'll see who the man is, chef. We'll see who the fucking burger wrestling employee of the month is, bitch. But it's just, why do you think they do not fight in that final moment? Do they finally accept they are ingredients to this moment?
I think it's like, yeah, I mean, I think that's the way to put it. They're part of the art. Like, what better way? Like, I think about John Leguizamo's character. Mm. What better way to be remembered? Not for like calling Mr. Sunshine, but now you remembered as
Well, he was going to do that reality show. He's like, that was fucking great. Then I go see a goat and it's over.
And it's over. Yeah, exactly. Like now, instead of being remembered as the hack who like descended into reality TV, you're one of the many victims of Julian Slowik's final meal.
Right.
Like that's an honor almost. It's almost like it's an honor the way that it's
him and
presented.
the food critics, the financial bros, and the philanderer I don't understand.
I mean, to be honest with you, those people just have it coming. So
you know what the saddest realization I had during that scene was? Is I was like, Tyler would have been ecstatic to the point of masturbating.
He would have just.
He's like, he can't bust because then he might fucking ruin the art of the food.
It would have been like this, like what's edging? Is that what it's called?
Edging.
Like that. Yeah, he would have been edging the whole entire
Every
time.
healthy man practices edging, right? So Tyler is sitting there, just oh my god, breadcrumbs, I don't know what that yellow shit was. Is that supposed to be like a honey paste or mustard? He's like, oh god, hit my table again. Tyler can't wait to get s'mored.
Yeah,
s'more me, chef, s'more me.
It was,
but that's even more pathetic, right? The one guy in the room who would have loved this, who could have fully appreciated what Chef did. Chef talked him onto the fucking belt before it happened. And honestly, Tyler sucks, so he doesn't deserve that. But
he doesn't. But that's the other part too. Is like he doesn't deserve it because he sucks, and that's why he didn't get it. The Pharma Bros or whatever they are, like they deserve it because
I forgot another hilarious thing. He makes them pay the tab before he burns them all to death.
Fucking love that.
Gratuities included. Don't worry.
There's just all these like traditional restaurant beats that he still fits in. You're like, Jesus Christ, he's just taking every one of the cleaners.
The fucking bag boy for the food critic. He's like, don't worry, it's on the magazine. I was like, oh, how generous of you.
Oh, how generous of you.
In your fucking hen house of money. How generous.
He gives them all gift bags.
Here's a pamphlet about all the great food you ate.
By the way, we're burning you all alive. Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's easily one of the best movies of last year. It is.
Oh, by far.
It is fun. It is sharp. It is razor sharp, I guess is a way to say it, right? The editing, the timing,
knife sharp,
the score, the fucking acting. I mean, they just made the right choice at every moment, it seems.
Yeah. It's hard to dislike much in the movie. But
and again, it has this like, it's a game, and if you're not in on the game, I guess whatever. But how do you watch this movie and not understand you're doing a contained game?
Well, like I think about what I thought about the most when I was watching it actually was what we do here. So when we started this podcast, like I'm not doing movie reviews because neither of us are in any position to assume that we're experts on anything. All we can do
this week, my thoughts on The Fabelmans.
Right. All we can do is talk about movies that we love, movies that make us feel something, that kind of thing. And to me,
you're in for a loop-de-loo because we're gonna start doing only new movies and get on Rotten Tomatoes and just fucking spray fecal on every movie.
We're gonna get menued, and I'm gonna blame you. We're gonna go to they're gonna go.
Let me put it this way: if I was in the restaurant.
They're gonna
get fucking evil cult would be wearing angel wings.
They're gonna get us into a Max and Irma's, and you're gonna get us menued. You're gonna turn. We're gonna get turned into ice cream.
I would pretend I was gonna go along with Chef's Jerkfest. I'd find the barrel of bread. I would eat it like Popeye, and start dealing out throat rips, Roadhouse style, to every fucking chef in that place. I would have walked out like a boss with my carb power. They're all eating like fucking whatever the fuck that lump of flesh was on the rocks.
Did you ever think? I just thought about that. Do you think that's specific so that they are a little carb deprived, so maybe they don't have the energy?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Carbs fuel the muscle in the brain.
Genius.
Genius. They're like, here, lick this rock, because they know that then they'll be all fainting and weak when they're trying to run away.
Nobody
in the
ate
back, those guys are just eating like Jimmy John's, like bread by the foot.
Nobody ate their tortillas of evidence. Anyway,
tortillas.
So. I'm sorry. I got to do one thing. Special shout out to Hong Chow, man.
She was awesome.
She's been in 2 movies.
She is maniacal in this movie.
She's incredible in this movie. She's incredible in The Whale. Like she is
so fucking good.
Absolutely wonderful. And I want to see her in everything.
In The Whale. That was her year. She should get nominated for one of these.
That one, when we walked out of that movie, when we walked out of The Whale, Andrea and I were like, there's no way she doesn't get at least nominated, if not totally win Best Supporting
I don't know
Actress.
who won at the Golden Globes, man. I didn't hear anything about her, but
I forget who won
I
Best
remember
Supporting
I was
at the
just
Golden
mad
Globes.
that the Elvis kid won. But I know Brendan Fraser, he wasn't going to go because of what happened.
Yeah,
But
I knew he wouldn't
prepared.
win because
If
I knew
Brendan
he wouldn't 'cause
Fraser
they were
doesn't win, I'm going to be heartbroken.
Yeah, I think if Brendan Fraser doesn't win, I'm going to be pretty pissed.
Because that's the thing. All this bullshit about, it's insulting and this. He played Charlie with so much heart and charm. That was not a movie where we were laughing at Charlie.
No.
We fully empathized and wanted Charlie to be happy. Neither here nor there. I'm not, whatever. I'm not trying to get into the mud and wrestle with
But
people.
either way, it's...
Yeah, I'm not putting a cheeseburger on my dick for wrestling.
What I'm
just
saying
saying
is
I love
Hong
Brendan Fraser.
Chow needs to... Hong Chow is,
She is
absolutely the MVP last year.
She's a fucking sledgehammer in the world.
Powerhouse.
In this movie, she's just as good.
Yeah.
Like
She's unbelievable.
She's on the verge, man. She's gonna get the right movie and just fucking crush. Like she did
Or
with
Marvel,
these two.
or Marvel hire.
Yeah.
One of those.
So see us next week for our thoughts on Mothregan and The Fablemans and whatever else is in theaters, because we're your hip spot to deconstruct everything new in the world of cinema.
I love that idea. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was just about to say that.
We're going to talk about a whole biome of narratives. You're going to love it. It's going to be sick.
Biome. That's the word I was looking for. Good call.
Yeah. That's my mother drunk in the corner. It's art. Wouldn't that be hilarious if in my seat back there I just had my mom getting hammered on chocolate wine, which
God bless, man.
and everything I said, so she go, "You're so smart, Joshy."
Yeah.
I don't know why
The
that's
Menu is on HBO Max. Everyone should watch it.
Everyone
Jesus.
should watch this movie. That and HBO Max also has Banshees of Inisherin, which is fucking
Yes, it does.
amazing.
Also awesome.
So yeah, HBO's they're doing the thing. So go over there and enjoy it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We have one more resolution left, which is
Oh God, what is it? Oh, The Prince of Tides. My dad's resolution.
Dear God. All right, I've never seen this movie, so
I haven't either.
I'm
My
strapping
father
in.
requested it. Patrick Dandino request.
Fucking old Patty D over there. So guys, join us for our final resolution. You know next month is the month of Amour, so we'll have our program for that soon. We love the month of Amour. So yeah, guys, if you would be so kind, go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod to support the show, to find more awesome content over there if you like what we're doing. Guys, please this year, if you hear something you like from us, send it to a friend. Send it to a family member, whoever. Just share it with someone. Listen to it with them, right? We're trying to spread this thing. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way, like Latter-day Saints. We're going to go door-to-door with this motherfucker.
Eventually, our Patreon will be $1,300 a pop, but for now...
Yeah, we'll be chopping fingers off, jerking off into graham crackers, whatever you want.
Whatever you want to do.
For that kind of price, all the bits are out.
It's all for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's all for you, Damien.
Yeah. Anywho, that's true, though. We will do it. Film Alchemist, the YouTube. FilmAlchemistPod@gmail.com is the email. Make sure you leave ratings and reviews. More than anything, thank you so much for joining us. Share this with your friends wherever you can. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next time. for
Tip is
Prince of
included.
Tides. The gratuity's included. I don't know what voice I'm trying to do.
It's good.
I'll accept that.
Mildly German.
All right. Bye.